joining me for episode 10 of My Doll's House Diary. Now in this episode I'm going to be continuing to strip the inside of the doll's house, leaving just the wallpaper, which we'll tackle in the next episode. Now I've managed to get quite a bit done. I've cleared all of these main downstairs rooms, so I've just got one attic room to do and the top landing. So let me show you what I've done and then we'll crack on. Okay, so I'm going to start in this little sort of top back landing, and if you remember, this front area is going to be the bathroom and I'll be putting a wall across here. So this flap here that's sort of falling out, that was a little attic lid that I made, and I will be remaking that, but obviously I don't want it in this sort of high gloss. So I'll just remove these surrounds, and these just made slightly wider than the hole all the way around, give the lip for the sort of attic lid to sit in. I mean, that is certainly coming off very easy. Sorry, I keep jolting the camera as well now. I always think to myself, when I build my own doll's house, which is a dream of mine really, I want to build a big doll's house and make it into like an abandoned house. I always think I'll build it, decorate it before it's actually built. I don't know if anybody has done that. It just seems so much easier than squeezing into these tiny little rooms to do things. I don't know how that would work, if you'd have to maybe draw out where the rooms are first. Maybe if anybody's done it that way, let me know. And we are talking probably quite a few years down the line. I'm sure this is going to take me a couple of years to complete. Again, that seems to be coming off quite easy, but it's just the angle that I'm working at. There we go. Oops. It does feel good when these pieces come away in big strips like that. Okay, so let's move to some of these lower panels. Pieces are loose, but I just can't seem to get the screwdriver behind it. The whole house is actually creaking. Well, that's not a bad start anyway. I think this is sort of one of those areas that's so small I'm going to have to put the camera aside for a bit and just sort of get in there as far as I can and remove the panelling and then show you what I've done. So all the wooden mouldings are now off. I'm going to have a tidy up, then I'll get the flooring up, which you can't actually see under there at the moment, And then I'll just go around with the hammer and chisel away some of those sort of splinters of wood that you can see there. So that's the top landing now clear. Just got the wallpaper and flooring card to remove, which I'll be coming back to. Okay, so moving on into the dining room now. I'll just begin by unplugging, it's actually already unplugged, the little light from the fireplace. Put that somewhere safe. I'm actually going to make a start on removing the fireplace, or the surround. And again, if I can get this out without any damage, that will be good. It's coming away. Yeah, that's good. Sticking there to the paper. I can get that off quite easily, but no damage there, so I'm pleased with that. Put that to one side as well. Let's try the hearth, and again, if I can get this up in one piece, I'll be happy. Oh. I'm just going to score down the edge of this chimney breast. Again, same as all the other rooms, I actually put this in, and I just used a piece of MDF from an old shelf unit we had. Ooh. So that's that free, and again I'll strip that because I'd like to reuse that surround. I'll put that to one side and do that later. Again, you can see here where I put in extra copper tape to put a new electrical socket for the fire there. But if I was starting again now, I probably wouldn't use copper tape. I'd probably use a wiring system. Just because I've heard that copper tape doesn't always last as long. Especially sort of when you're putting glue and paper and things over the top, which I have tried to avoid doing. When I've sort of attached the paper, I haven't glued over the tape at the tops, or on the ceilings rather, and then on these walls I haven't applied glue when I've stuck the chimney breast in place, so hopefully they'll still all be okay. And the one in the kitchen was, if you remember. So I'm hoping they'll all keep working. So one of the things I really loved about this doll's house was that it's got the door in this room. Don't know if it's sort of stuck closed with paint. No, it does still open. And that actually just quite easily there fell out of the opening. There's actually not a pin in the bottom now, so that made it quite easy. But I really like that door, so I will be probably not keeping this door because it's got that yellowing gloss paint on it. But I'll make another door to match that. Might have fewer glass panes in it. We'll see when we get there. But I will put that to one side for now and then get rid of the surround. Having a quick look there from the outside, and it's leaving the external surround, which is good, the stone coated part. Let me just take you round and show you that door now from outside. And that was so much easier there working from the outside of the doll's house when you've got such a sort of confined area to work in. And it's left this lovely external surround which I'd stone coated, so I've now just got to make a step and then build a frame for the sort of internal part of the door. Okay, so that's that side done. So I'm going to now work on the other side because that back wall is always the most difficult. But first of all, I'm going to clear some of this debris out. I'm just going to start by moving that little light switch. And this was another thing I really loved about this room as well, was this double door coming in. Just because all the rooms aren't exactly the same, I thought that was a really nice feature. Okay, so that's that side done as well. Just that back wall to do, and as usual I'm going to have to do that without the camera running because I just can't get in there with the camera sitting here. So I'll do that and then let you see how I got on. So that's the back wall stripped as well. And for as much as I was dreading doing that, that actually turned out to be probably the easiest room I've done so far regarding that back wall area, just because it's so difficult to get into at that angle. But that's done, so now to strip the floor, and even just lifting that with my fingers, that looks as though that's going to come away quite easy. And again, I think that's the first piece of flooring that's come away all in one piece like that. So it's a fairly easy room to do. That's probably taken me an hour in real time. I'll just get some of this worst bit of cardboard up off the floor, and this is the cardboard that I would have used as a template for the wooden floor strips. Okay, I think that's about the sort of main bits that I can get up. So I'll tidy this room out and then we can move on to the entrance hall. Okay, so I'm just going to begin by removing the little pictures and things from the wall. The frame come off and left the picture there. And these little frames I won't be reusing in here, but they won't go to waste because I'm thinking of using them in my messy garden shed. Maybe just have a little box of frames sitting around. Sort of roughly stick the little pictures back in. And I can't remember the name of the artist now. I think it's Robert something, I'll look it up, but I printed off these little pictures, and they're sort of nostalgic images and they're used for puzzles and things like that. And they're really nice little pictures. So like I say, I will reuse those. And the light switch as well. This was a double light switch that I made here. And a little sort of coat hook down here. Ooh, didn't even need to get the chisel behind there. I've actually used tacky wax, looking at it, to put that on, and that's just fallen off, but I'm actually going to keep those hooks because they're really nice little brass hooks there. May make another little coat rack with those. And I want to get that light fitting down, so let me just move around a little bit. And again, last time I didn't manage to do it without breaking the rosette. And that one came down okay, and I really like these little 3 light lanterns, little brass hallway lanterns, so I might try and reuse those. I haven't planned yet what I'm going to be doing with these entrance hall and landings, what sort of decor I'm going to have, but if I can work something that will work with these, then I'll do that. I really like those. So put that safely to one side as well, and then I'll start around that left hand wall, and I keep peering in through that door at the kitchen. And I don't know what it is, but I love looking through doors into rooms. I think it's because it makes them look so real. Just wanted to show you that there. Right, so let's make a start over here. And this panelling is the same panelling that I've used throughout. Okay, I think I'm going to move on to this panelling up the stairs here, and then I can get into that last bit of door surround a bit easier. And this actual piece of panelling here, I used balsa wood, and they do say it hardens over time, but actually it's really easy still to press my nail in there, so I probably won't be using balsa wood again. Okay, so I just sort of moved the camera around so I could get in at a better angle to remove the balsa wood panel in here. And then I continued on with a bit of the door, and the actual internal frame, which I had said I wanted to keep in place, actually came out, but it came away really easily. And if I can just move you around and show you in the kitchen there, it did actually leave the kitchen wallpaper intact. So I could now just rebuild a frame inside there and then stick it onto that bit of wallpaper that's still there in the kitchen, so it hasn't caused any damage in the kitchen at all. But I have just noticed, and I don't know when this happened, that the fitting for the light has actually came away from the ceiling there. So that must have been while I've been doing all the sort of banging and knocking, so I'm going to have to re-stick that into place, so that's a bit annoying. So carrying on then with the entrance hall, I'm going to make a start on the wooden panelling. So I think what I did here with the skirting board was put the tiling in, and then I grouted. I did the tiling, put the skirting board in, and then grouted around that bottom edge. So I think that's why the skirting board isn't coming out as easily as it normally does in the other rooms. So I might perhaps leave that in place until I start removing the tiles, and then maybe that will come up a little bit easier. We'll see. Okay, so that's both sides of the entrance hall done, apart from that sort of back bit of skirt in there, which again I think is sort of trapped in by the grout that I used on the tiles. So I'm going to clear this away now, and I'm going to finish here for the day. But when I come back, I'll finish off the back wall of here, then I'll move up to the landing, just because I think these tiles down here are going to take a while to chip out. I might be wrong, they might all come off fairly easily, but I think they're sort of just going to crack rather than peeling off nicely like a piece of wooden flooring. so I'll leave that until last. Okay, see you in a bit. So that's the entrance hall done now, all apart from these tiles, which I'll come back to. And that back wall wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was able to sort of work through this door opening here, and then the sort of top of the hammer was going up through the stair opening here. So that helped, and a lot of that wallpaper came off with the piece of coving, so that was good. So I'm now going to move up to the landing. I don't know if you can actually make this out on camera, but where the doors of the doll's house have been off, it's quite dusty in here, and there's actually cobwebs around the ceiling as well. And I was just wondering, as I'm sort of working on the rest of the house, I don't want to put the doors on until I'm done, but rooms sort of such as the kitchen that are almost done are going to get incredibly dusty. So I'm just wondering if any of you have come across that problem and what you did about it. And I was wondering perhaps putting tissue paper across the openings of the rooms as I complete them, just to keep the dust out. I don't know, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've sort of had to deal with that before. Okay, so in here again, I'm going to start by removing that ceiling light as carefully as I can. Oops, put that to one side. And another thing I was thinking about was that back window. Now I am going to remove it. I was thinking of maybe just leaving this sort of internal surround, but again I don't like the yellow and gloss now, so I will have to remove it, and I'll buy a complete new window. Okay, so I'm just going to work my way around now as normal. So that's that balsa wood stair panel removed, and I scraped it away really just like you would wallpaper in the end, the bits that were sort of stuck to the wall. So now I'll carry on with the wooden panelling. So that's that side wall now done, and I managed to get the piece of coving down along the roof at the back there. So I'm going to have a quick tidy up and then continue from this side round and leave the back until last. Okay, so that's that window out, and because I was working from the outside in, there is a bit of damage under the window there on the inside, which I'll have to put right. Okay, so I'm going to remove the flooring now, so let's see how easy this is to get out. So that's the flooring out, and that was a particularly stubborn piece and quite difficult to get out because there's a lot of sort of bits of skirting board left around this landing area, and of course the skirting board was put on after the wooden flooring, so it was kind of trapping it in. I've still got some door surround bits to remove here and down there in the dining room. I'm going to leave it for today as it's now lunchtime and I've got to get on with the shed this afternoon. I'm eager to get that finished this week, and that's for the 5th book that I'm releasing. Otherwise I'd like to sort of carry on with this, but I must get on with the book. But not a bad morning's work again, and I'm sort of feeling now that I really just want to, you know, start decorating again and putting it all back to looking lovely. I don't like seeing it at this stage, but I know it is going to look fantastic. As I've sort of been stripping out the rooms, I've been thinking about maybe what I'm going to do in some of them. So I've had a few ideas, but I'll talk to you about that in another episode. But just as I've sort of been working, I've been having quite a few ideas, so I'm going to go and jot those down while I have a bite to eat. And then, like I say, get on with that shed. So I'll see you again tomorrow and we'll get the stripping completely finished. Okay, so up here I've got the main attic, and this room I'm not going to be touching at all. I really love how it looks, and it will just be a dusty old attic with lots of lovely things in there. Some of them I've already got, but I've just emptied everything out just to save anything sort of falling over. So that's that, and then coming across here to this top landing, I'll be clearing that. Obviously want that to match the hallway below, or the hallways below and the entrance hall. And then this, which I intend to be a craft room, I'll be clearing this as well. Okay, so I'm just having a look here. This is the sort of flap that closes over the doll's house there, and I'd like to actually try and leave this ceiling paper. It still looks really nice, it's a nice colour, so all I really want to I was going to say remove, but actually thinking about it, I could just paper over these small window triangles. For such a tiny area that isn't sort of really prominent, I think I'm going to leave this whole flap and then just paper over these sort of inside window bits. And there's a little bit there as well in the apex of the roof, which I'll also paper over. So that means I don't have to touch that sort of flap, roof flap at all, which is good. Right, now let me see if I can get the camera in a really good angle so I can clear this middle attic room. The trouble here is because I'm so high up, my tripod doesn't reach this high, so I've got it at its highest setting but propped on a little table. So I'm hoping I'm not going to knock it. But I think you can see there, this side, and then I'll move it around. And I'm just going to do exactly the same as I've done in other areas, just using the chisel and hammer to start removing the panelling. just thinking this panelling and skirting in these central areas, the landings and the entrance hall, so difficult to get off. I'm just trying to remember which glue I used. Of course it was 20 years ago, so I can't remember, but I'm wondering if in my naivety I might have used something like No More Nails or some sort of really high strength glue. Now what I'm also thinking up here is, I wonder whether I should leave this door, just because I like the look of the door on the inside of the attic that I'm keeping. And I could just paint that, and because it's in this area I could just paint over the gloss of the door surround. So I think I'll do that. I think I'll remove everything else, but I'll leave the door surrounds on both sides. I probably will get rid of those push plates. I don't think in this area it's going to be too much of a problem to paint over these door surrounds, but I don't want the panelling in there anymore. Another thing as well, if you're working on something like this where you've got a door propped open, just be really careful. You might want to prop it up with something quite heavy, because it's wobbling about a bit now. I'm just sort of keeping my eye on it, but you don't want it sort of crashing down and trapping your fingers or hitting you on the head. I just wanted to show you that corner of that wall. That's a mess. So I'm going to wait until I've moved the flooring to get right into that corner. I just cannot get that bit. And of course, because of the low ceiling, I can't get the chisel in there at the right angle. So I'll move the floor in and then see if I can get into that. But I'm going to have to do a lot of repair work on some of these walls, which is okay. I'll just do as much as I can at this stage. And then as I move through each room, I can fill and sand and do whatever needs doing to get that wall nice and straight again. Just have a little peep into the attic there. I really like looking through doors in dolls' houses. Let me move that, what would be a giant pot of screws. And I really want to get one of those tiny cameras, so once the doll's house is done I can sort of do a tour. Okay, let's get on. Okay, quick tidy up and I'll move on to that other side. And I just realised that the cup of tea that I made about half an hour ago I hadn't touched. It's a bit annoying when that happens. And you always take a sip, don't you, just to see if it might still be warm enough to drink. Sort of lodging one of my feet on the table there. Not sure it's a great idea, but I just feel I need to get in at a better angle. Okay, so again that's that other side done, and it's left a bit of a mess there. And I now want to have a go at removing this wooden flooring, and in most of the rooms I've just been able to get at it from the front, but here, as you can see, there's sort of a lip along there, so I'll see if I can get the screwdriver in there. I think once I've sort of pried it up, it'll come up quite easy. So I've got the camera now on the smaller tripod, so we can get in a bit closer. Let's have a go. This will come in from the side, maybe. Oop. There we go. it's got a little stubborn bit at the back there now. Shouldn't be able to get to that quite easily though, she says. There we are. Okay, let's move on to the craft room. So I'm going to remove this little notice board, but I want to try and keep that. And these are really easy to make, and if you have a look at my craft shed series, you'll find the tutorial in there. Just really gives you some ideas because it's so easy to make. It's just a frame around a piece of cork, but I just share a sort of few ideas of things that you can put on them. I'll try around there with the screwdriver. Better? Oh, lovely. I had horrible visions of actually going through the cork. Taken half the wallpaper with it, but that's okay. Again, I'll put that somewhere safe. Okay, so let's start off removing the fireplace. Get the screwdriver in there. Again, I'd like to reuse that if I can. And that's come off in one piece, which is really good. Put that in the attic for now. And then these don't come off quite so easy. I've already chipped it there. So it has come off in one piece. That's quite good because I can reuse that and just touch that corner in that I've just chipped. And again, that was bright white plaster when I got it. And I just used watercolour paints and charcoal to age that up and make it match the surround a bit better. I'll put that to one side as well. And then just work around, starting with this skirting. And when it's stuck over paper like that, it's always a lot easier to remove. And this room I'm going to keep as a craft room, like I said, and I'm going to be remaking a lot of the little bits and pieces that I used for the craft shed in here. Going to be like a whole range of hobbies represented. Okay, excuse me for while I pick you up, move you around. Somewhere safe. Now I'm sort of getting to the end of you know, stripping it out. I'm getting so excited about redoing it all. and I've had quite a few comments. I know in the sort of first, or not in the first Doll's House Diary, but in the episode where I announced that I was going to completely redo the house, I did say that it was not an easy decision to make because a lot of work had gone into, you know, the Doll's House so far, and it was quite upsetting when I started sort of stripping everything out. And I've had quite a few comments from people sort of saying, you shouldn't be doing that. I had a sort of back and forth conversation with a lady saying, you know, that's such a lovely house, why are you doing that? You should leave it as it is. But I did say that as it was, I really couldn't find the motivation to carry on with it. You know, I decorated it 20 years ago. My tastes have changed, the style of furniture that I build has changed, and I've completely changed my mind on how I want to furnish the Doll's House. And if you can't get motivated to do it, I would have just left it. One lady even said, well, if you wanted to do a different style, why didn't you buy another Doll's House? So I haven't got room for another house, and you know, that still wouldn't have made me want to carry on with this house. So you know, I hope anybody who has felt that I shouldn't be doing this can understand why I am doing it. And it's not as if I'm sort of destroying somebody else's hard work. You know, I did it all. I'm only sort of undoing what I'd done. And I just wanted to say that because knowing how sort of bad I did feel about doing it and how upsetting it was taking that first sort of lot of panelling and things off. You know, it's not very nice for people to tell you that you are doing something wrong, so I hope you can understand why I'm doing it. I just wanted to say that. And it is going to be better. You know, I've got so many plans for it, which I'll share with you in another video. And I'm planning on doing a vlog on, you know, how to come up with ideas, building mood boards, you know, where to find some great photographs for inspiration and things like that. But it is, you know, anybody who's watching and think I'm doing something terrible, don't worry, because it is going to look better. Anyway, let's carry on. I'll clear these bits out of here now, and then again remove this flooring. Oh, actually no, I've got to remove the chimney breasts around. Let's try and do that now. Just start by cutting through the wallpaper. There's a bit of gapping at the top. I might be better going. And again, I'll be saving that one to reuse in here. I like the idea of having a little log fire, even if we just sort of put a paraffin heater or something in there. Just having space to keep the room lovely and warm. Okay, put that to one side as well. Just a little bit of wood on the floor there that I would have used to raise the fire. Okay, let's clear this area. So again with this one, I've got this sort of lip in front. So I'll start again by trying to get at it from the side with the screwdriver. See how we go. I've actually only got that little bit down there in that corner to get in from. And that's left quite a lot of the cardboard template behind, but it looks as though it's sticking up in places, so I just remove what I can. so that's the craft room done. Like I say, I've left that door, probably paint over that, and I just now want to come, with that little tripod, back into this top landing, and now the flooring's out, see if I can chip away some of that stubborn skirting board, and then we're done up here. And then I'll move back down to the entrance hall to remove those tiles. Okay, so I'm moving back down now to the entrance hall to tackle these tiles. And these were some tiles that I bought on a sort of mesh sheet, and I bought a couple of sheets and then you can join them in together. When they came, they were made from plaster, so they were a bright white. And because I sort of wanted a cream skirting board and cream panelling, they didn't look right against it. So I used gloss enamel paint to colour them in to match the skirting. And I've never really been happy with them. I like the style of tile, but I don't like the colour. And I'm not sure if I'll be sticking with tiles in here or maybe just go in for a wooden flooring until I've decided on what I'm going to do with these hallways. Obviously I'm not sure, but anyway, the job at hand is to remove these tiles. So I've got an awful feeling they're just all going to sort of chip away in tiny bits, but if I could get them out in the sheet or still attached to the mesh that they came on, that would be ideal. So let's have a look. Okay, not bad, that's promising. It's not that I'm sort of trying to save them, it's just that it's so much easier if they remove in one big sheet. Ooh. Now that is surprising. And pleasing too. I thought that was going to be a pretty awful job. It's weird, isn't it? Because things that I thought were going to be easy have been quite difficult, and the other way around. And I left this till last because I really did expect that this was going to take a while, sort of chipping away all those tiles. And did I put this onto a cardboard template? I can't remember. Yes, I did. So that's why it's coming away so easily. I thought I'd just put the sort of mesh sheet straight down onto the wood, but no, I obviously used a template again. And look at that, out in one piece. Not usable at all, but saved some time. Okay, and that's really sticky on the back. Yes, what I've actually done, remembering now, I've used a piece of self-adhesive wooden flooring and I've stuck it on there. So that's really sticky. I couldn't remember doing it like that. Okay, let's get that out. And now that's out, I just want to go around and remove these last sort of stubborn bits of wood. So this door surround, get the chisel the right way up. And I think I did say in an earlier video that I was going to keep the sort of internal surrounds to the doors, but as I sort of made the mistake of moving a couple, I thought I may as well remove all of them, and then all of the new doors will be done in the same way. And it's not too much of a problem, I can just use strip wood in there to make a surround and build the doors into it away from the doll's house and then just slot that in. But we'll get to that at a later stage. So I'll do this one from inside the dining room. Ooh. And then I'm just going to turn the camera off as there's a little bit of stubborn skirting board at the back here that I'll need to get inside to remove. So with those tiles out, those stubborn pieces of skirting board were a lot easier to chip away. Of course, in this area it's easier because I can work through this open door here, but in the other areas I haven't really got anywhere to put my hand through, so it's quite confined. But I can chip away as much as I can get to, and then the rest I can sand, so it's not too much of a problem. So what I'm going to do now is get the vacuum cleaner out and get rid of all these little bits of dust and chips of wood. And then I just wanted to give you an update on the kitchen. Okay, so in the kitchen I've added this little storage unit, and the tutorial for that will be coming up soon. I'll try and get it on after this video. And the fabric there I've used for the baskets, the red gingham, isn't actually the fabric I want to use in the kitchen, so I will be remaking these little baskets once I've chosen a fabric for my curtain and door curtain. So that was that, and I really like how it's looking now along that right hand edge. And then next I'll be building a wall cupboard with glazed doors, and that will sit above this unit here in the centre. And then above this unit I'm going to have some pictures on the wall, maybe a set of 4 pictures. And I'm sort of toying with the idea of doing some drawings myself. I'm not brilliant at drawing, but I'm okay. And I actually quite like drawing vegetables, so I might do a set of 4 pencil drawings and then obviously reduce them. But don't hold me to that, because it's been a long time since I've actually done any drawing. So that's that. And then I said to you earlier about how with all the sort of banging and crashing that's going on upstairs, the light fitting had come off. And I actually just tried gluing that back in place, but it's not sticking now, so I think I'm going to have to use a scalpel blade to remove the glue that's on the beam and on the light fitting, and then reattach that. So that was a little bit annoying, and I pulled off one of these beams as well, again working in the room above, and I held onto this ceiling and just pulled that off, so I've just stuck that back. But really I would say strip back the whole house before you start in any of the rooms, and that's probably common sense to most of you, but I just didn't think of it, and I was so eager to get on with the kitchen. But now the banging and crashing bits of the work are done, so it's just stripping the wallpaper now, and then the exciting parts begin where we'll start doing all the decorating and everything. Yeah, so just really wanted to give you an update on how the kitchen is coming along. And I'm then going to be making, after the wall cupboard, we'll have an island. I was going to do that in dark wood, just as a contrast to the cream and dark. And then over in this side, I'm not entirely decided yet, but one idea is to do like a little desk type table with a chair, and either have a notice board above or maybe a nice wall shelf, and I could sort of have some recipe books on there, a telephone, somewhere to sort of sit and write out shopping lists and things like that, somewhere to fill in the pickling journal. So I'm going to have a lot of pickling jars in this kitchen. And like I said before, as I'm getting near to the stage where the sort of redecorating can start, I'm getting really excited about, all of the furniture and miniatures I'm going to put in each of the rooms. So we're getting to a really exciting stage with it now, and I'm really happy with how the kitchen is looking so far. I'm going to have curtains and a blind going across there, like I've made before for other projects. And I'm going to have a door curtain, and we'll be making a doormat. And again, all of those tutorials will be shared here on YouTube. Okay, so that's it for now, and I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. If so, please do give the video a thumbs up. That means a lot, as it means more people will be able to find my videos. And if you'd like to be notified every time I upload a video, hit the little notification bell, just about there. In the next episode I'll be stripping the wallpaper, and I'm going to be using the tips that you've given me here, over on Facebook and on Instagram as well, so thank you to everybody who left a comment. And don't forget to look out for that kitchen storage unit tutorial, that will be coming soon as well. So for now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!